All right, hello everyone. Welcome to week 12 of the spring semester. I'm not sure what number meeting this is at this point. I've lost track, but yeah, we're nearing the end of the semester. How's everyone doing? Good, bad? It's been super busy. Oh yeah, no, it's been super busy for a lot of people I know, but hopefully we'll get through it. Only 3 weeks left of school until finals, so that's always a fun thing to think about. First of all, I just wanted to take a moment to congratulate Anthony and Brandon for both making the Weather Challenge tournament. They both got in as wild cards. I'm not sure how the forecasting works, so I can still forecast for this last city. What does that do for us? Do you know?
It's just a bonus city.
No, okay.
So, I mean, you can forecast, but instead of 8 days, it goes up to 16 days, and you don't forecast for Wednesday. So you wouldn't make a forecast tonight.
Okay.
You do Monday, Tuesday. So you forecast Monday for Tuesday, Tuesday for Wednesday, skip Wednesday for Thursday, but you'll forecast Thursday for Friday and Friday for Saturday.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that way, that day break in there allows for the movement up the bracket once you get into the bracket stage, which starts next week. This first week is the wild card stage, and then the last 3 weeks will be the bracket stage.
So is that you two fighting for a spot in the bracket then? Is that what that is?
Yeah, so there's 40 wild cards per division, and the top eight wild cards after this first week will make it into the bracket.
Cool. Well, good luck, guys. I think the forecast city is Goodland, Kansas. So if you guys are interested in still forecasting, obviously you can still do that. You can still earn a trophy, I think you said, even if you're not in the tournament. So go ahead and do that if you're interested. As you probably know, there are quite a few thunderstorms throughout the country today. We had some roll through this morning. In Macomb, we're probably gonna have a little bit more in the next couple of hours. We were actually considering looking at some of the storms down south during club, but they kind of lost their structure. Not really much to talk about down there. But yeah, that enhanced risk. There were a couple tornado warnings down Louisiana, but other than that, nothing really much to see. Yeah, that's the thing that we need to talk about. So obviously, with the end of the semester coming up, we need to think about elections. This week, I'm going to formally announce elections. They will be held on April 21st, which is going to be the week of week 14 of the semester. That'll also be our final meeting. The way that elections work is this week is that we announce the elections, obviously. And then next week, which is going to be week 13, we're going to take nominations. So either you nominate yourself if you want to run for a position, or if you want to nominate someone else, you can do that as well. That'll be all we do for that meeting as far as elections go. And then that following week, which is going to be that April 21st, week 14, that's when we hold speeches if there are any competition between e-board spots, and then we vote. I'm not sure how we're going to handle the votes via Google Meet here. I'm sure we'll probably have to do it. I don't know. I actually haven't thought of that. I'll consider that, and we'll get a voting system if necessary. Anyone in the club can run for any position. Presidents, vice presidents, secretary, and treasurer. They're all open. So if you're interested in holding a position like that in the club, make sure you are at next week's meeting so you can nominate yourself. Additionally, I'll take nominations like via email if you happen to miss or whatever. So if you're interested in that, you'll want to do that. Does anyone have any questions about elections or the election process? I want to make sure I didn't miss anything here.
No, I think you're good. The only thing I was going to say is if we actually had people that wanted to run, you probably would just have to send out a Google form thing, and just that's probably a way to vote if we're going to do it online.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, so I'll probably put together once we finish that stage of the elections next week. I'll probably put together a Google form, send that out to everybody for the last meeting. Oh yeah, also if you want to be in any of the available club chair positions next semester, I think currently we have outreach and activities chairs that are definitely open. Depending on I think what Brandon does, we might have the webmaster chair as well. So we don't elect those, but if you're interested in those, you should attend these meetings as well, just that I have an idea of what everyone wants to do. Does anyone have any other comments or concerns regarding club business or the weather or anything else? If the answer to that is no, then I guess we can start on the main event, which is storm chasing videos. I kind of wanted to make this meeting kind of laid back. We've been doing a lot of student presentations. Those are obviously fun, but sometimes you just like to look at the weather and do interesting things. So we're going to be watching a couple storm chasing videos. The creator that we're going to be looking at today goes by the name of Hank Schima, or maybe it's Hank Schima. I'm not sure. He's known on the internet as Picos Hank. A couple of you might know about him. He's actually not trained or educated in meteorology. He's actually a film and music person before a meteorologist, but he is very well experienced in storm chasing, specifically in what we call Tornado Alley, so north central Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Nebraska. That's where he likes to do his field work. Although he's not trained in meteorology, he's actually fairly prominent in the research community. I know he's credited for the discovery of a high atmosphere lightning event called ghosts. If you took dynamic, you know that whenever there's a lightning associated with, I think, cloud-to-cloud lightning, there are associated upward red streaks in the upper atmosphere that are called sprites. And what Hank discovered is that associated with those events are also this like green afterglow. And he called them ghosts. He's credited with the discovery of that. Additionally, he's involved in other research. Depending on how far we get into these videos today, you might see some of those as well. But yeah, that's all I really want to talk about. He obviously, with his background in film, he makes his videos more documentary-like rather than just like raw footage like some other storm chasers do. So I'll stop battling here and just present. Let's see. There it is. I'm sharing on my other screen because if I shared with my laptop, the bandwidth would just not be good enough. So I'm using a wired connection through Tilden Hall. But yeah, so this first video rather, documents a series of tornadoes that hit the town of Canton, Texas in 2017. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and get going. If you guys have any issues with the audio, just let me know. But yeah, I think this should work.
On April 29th, 2017, multiple tornadoes would touch down east of Dallas, Texas, 2 of them deadly.
I've got a woman. I'm taking her to the hospital.
A stationary boundary positioned over the town of Canton would serve as a track for tornadoes to train down, one after another.
Man, it's heading right for town.
For the folks in Canton, the nightmare was never ending.
Oh my God, those people gotta get out of here. Those people gotta get out of here. They're gonna die.
For a veteran storm chaser, the third and largest tornado of this family was the scariest tornado I've ever witnessed.
Oh man, this thing is moving fast.
Tracking highly visible tornadoes over open land is more mesmerizing than scary. Continuous, clear view of the rain-free storm base helps you predict storm motion as you gawk with confidence. The first tornado I witnessed was small and rain-wrapped, causing only EF0 damage to trees and barns east of Canton. After this weak tornado dissipated, a large killer was developing upstream and racing toward town.
We're riding its path right here. Gonna jump over these trees any second now.
High precipitation storm modes with low cloud bases tracking swiftly over thick forest are extremely risky conditions to chase in. If you could see through this wall of trees, you might see the low contrast silhouette of the deadly tornado 60 seconds before crashing into you, and at 30 seconds away. In these conditions, at 15 seconds before impact, you still might be completely unaware of your fate.
There it is. Holy. Big day. Coming right this way. Those people gotta get out of here. Oh my God, those people gotta get out of here. They're gonna die. Oh man, those people better get out of there. Hold on.
The shrouded tornado badly damaging houses right behind me will strengthen to one of the most powerful tornadoes of 2017. It will level a 2-story brick home and sweep much of the foundation slab clean of debris. Many people will be injured and 2 will lose their lives before this EF4 finally dies.
That's it right there. That's it.
Meanwhile, another powerful killer tornado is developing to the south.
Just got a glimpse of it. All right, there it is. Let's go get it.
While positioning for a closer view, the trees obscure clues that this intensifying tornado is moving much faster than I calculated.
Okay, we're right in its path. Is it dying? I can't tell. I hope there's no people in those trailers. Inside the bear's cage, and it is. Oh, we're too close. Gotta run. Gotta run. Gotta run. Gotta run. Gotta run. It's coming. It's coming. Come on. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming fast. Oh man, it's coming fast. Oh Jesus. This thing is moving fast. Okay, I got a clear road. Dude, you guys better run. Okay. Scared the hell out of me. It's coming fast. Gotta go. Okay, I think I can watch it safely here. A little too close. Oh man. Once it passes. Let's listen to it. It's heading right for town.
At this moment, a wedding venue is being overrun with 20 people crammed in an interior bathroom. After the mile-wide tornado passes, it will be the only room still standing. Everyone will survive.
There we go. And there it is. Oh my God.
Tornado is now destroying a Dodge dealership, tossing cars up to a half a mile. A woman was killed as her car was thrown from the interstate into a field. Another man will lose his life, as well as many farm animals.
It looks like it's over a lot of trees. I mean, there's houses everywhere out here, but it missed the main part of town. We're gonna have to go check on these people.
After the tornado has passed, hazards are scattered everywhere. Twisted metal, spears of splintered wood and nails, glass and rebar.
Wires everywhere. I can't.
Power lines down to cross lawns, roads, and wreckage can easily kill you, even if you are standing several feet away, especially in wet conditions. Your throat and nostrils often burn from broken lines pouring gas into the air, The worst thing you can do while trying to assist tornado victims is become a casualty yourself.
I just saw another tornado right there. There's a tornado following it right in there. See it? Another one.
You guys can keep chasing if you want.
Alright. I guess I could go check out in that field for people. Oh, damn it, there's cars. Be right back.
At this moment, I'm running out to check this vehicle for possible victims. It never occurred to me to check this leveled pile of rubble for survivors. On the way, a woman had crawled out of that mangled rubble. She was badly bleeding from her head and watching over her husband, who was lying on the concrete with a broken neck.
I've got a woman. I'm taking her to the hospital.
The woman in my car had lost just about every material possession she had.
How you doing back there?
I'm good.
She said she's good.
Despite the injuries to her and her husband, she hadn't lost her faith or her sense of humor.
And your name again?
Hank. I forgot your name.
Good. I don't feel so bad.
The gravity of the situation was offset with joking and gratitude, and I tell you, I might have met a stronger woman, but I can't remember when.
We're tested, then we moan, and then we have a testimony.
Before walking together into the ER, with blood running down her face, she paused to say a prayer for me.
Father God, I just thank you for Hank. I ask you to protect him in his storm chasing, and that you bless him and his wife for everything he's done for us.
Amen.
The next morning when I was cleaning my car, I found a gun she left in the back seat. Welcome to Texas, y'all.
Shortly after all this craziness, I had the honor of meeting up with Vicky and her family for dinner and more joking and storytelling. Vicky and her husband Jim are recovering and slowly rebuilding, but as you can imagine, they've accumulated a ton of bills. If you'd like to help them out, there's a fund drive helping to rebuild their community.
Yeah, so that was kind of the style of the videos that he likes to put out. You can clearly see the documentary style that I was talking about there. Something I really liked about that specific video is that obviously we like to think about chasing in wide open fields with great visibility with like a backlit tornado and all that kind of thing. But oftentimes it's not the case. If you ever go out spotting or chasing, you will be in environments with extremely poor visibility, either due to terrain or due to vegetation. Additionally, it was very dark. It was pretty much after sunset there. And of course, with the high precipitation events as well, it was just really, really a terrible chasing situation, as well as obviously a situation for the people that lived there. And so I'm glad that that video kind of showed that aspect of chasing. If you're not too much of a fan of the documentary style of videos, he also does put out some more raw footage like other storm chasers do. This next one that I'll show you is a basically unedited footage of a tornado that occurred last year in Madill, Oklahoma. So I'll go ahead and share my screen with that. There we go. Was the audio all right for everyone? Could you hear me? Okay, good.
Oh, it's spinning. Where is it? Okay, we're kind of inside of it. We're rolling, right? Oh, it's close. Oh, it's close. Okay.
Ian, you're muted, buddy.
My bad. Thanks for telling me. But yeah, something that I wanted to mention about this video is that, as you can see right here, this tornado's condensation funnel does not reach the ground, and this is the case with a lot of tornadoes. Is that if it wasn't for this little dust debris cloud here, you might not even be able to tell that there is a tornado here. This funnel cloud is obviously kind of demonstrates that a little bit, but it can be kind of deceiving to both storm chasers and, of course, the general population, that they'll see this and like, oh, that really didn't even look that bad. And so like if we just advance the video here, this circulation really doesn't look that bad. Like obviously it's rotating. You can tell that there's a tornado there, but at least in my opinion, it doesn't look that bad. But then when you look and you see what it does to this warehouse here and these structures, this is obviously really quite devastating. This is EF1, EF2 damage. This could really hurt you, and all that flying debris could definitely cause you some damage. So I'm glad he was able to showcase that aspect of tornado chasing as well. I'll go ahead and stop presenting here. There was something else that I wanted to show you. I mentioned that he is pretty involved in research meteorology. One of the things as meteorologists that we need to solve, as a discipline, is that we don't really know what causes tornadoes. We know the features that are associated with them. We know the kinds of environments that typically spawn tornadoes. But generally, we don't actually have a very comprehensive theory as to what causes a tornado and what will make one supercell make a tornado, whereas another one won't at all. And so this video is one that he teamed up with a professor at University of Wisconsin-Madison, I believe, Dr. Lee Orff. I won't spoil the video, but basically they go into great detail about a supercell model that they created, or that Dr. Lee Orff created, and that Hank is helping with. So I'll go ahead and share that video here. Let's see. There we go.
On May 23, 2011, a powerful rotating thunderstorm called a supercell could produce a tornado at any moment near El Reno, Oklahoma.
The stronger storms may also produce tornadoes.
Tornado sirens scream through town, but no tornado touches down. It was another false alarm. About the same time the next day, again near El Reno, another powerful supercell is in progress and a tornado warning is issued. This time, a killer is on the ground.
Your life may depend on it. Once again, tornado warnings are in effect. Dangerous, deadly tornado outbreak is underway.
With wind speeds estimated over 200 miles per hour, this tornado earns the highest rating on the enhanced Fujita scale, a rare EF5.
Everything's destroyed. Everything's killed.
For over an hour, this tornado will carve a 63-mile path across rural Oklahoma. Despite early warnings, 9 people lost their lives and over 150 were injured. Many people ignore tornado warnings because of too many false alarms. Others don't respond because they don't see a tornado.
There it is. Coming right this way. Those people gotta get out of here.
When they finally can, it's often too late. The National Weather Service has the difficult task of trying to warn the public, but because we still don't know why one supercell produces a tornado and why another does not, they have to warn the majority of supercells. For the National Weather Service, it's damned if they do and damned if they don't. To reduce the cried wolf effect, we're going to have to figure out why one supercell produces violent tornadoes and why another does not. Easier said than done. Every spring, scientists risk their lives hoping to collect the data needed, scanning killer storms with radar point blank, and by attempting to place instruments in the path of tornadoes. with all the probing and scanning, the picture is still vague at best. Atmospheric scientist Dr. Lee Orff has taken a different approach by successfully growing superstorms that produce EF5 tornadoes in a supercomputer. After decades of wandering in the dark, this technology has brought an alien anatomy to light. We now have the tools to see through the skin of the storm, into individual organs and an organized system of currents. Like a child opening a machine for the first time, we can now observe the components that make it tick. And what the machine is telling us is that many of our previous theories were dead wrong. But is this superstorm growing and living inside a computer a true representation of nature? One of the ways to help validate these incredible simulations is to compare them with actual storm footage. We are now here with atmospheric scientist at the University of Wisconsin, Dr. Lee Orff.
Hello, Lee. Greetings from Texas.
Hi, Hank. It's great to hear from you up here in Wisconsin.
Could you tell us what you do and what the main objective of your work is?
Sure. I'm an atmospheric scientist. I study supercell thunderstorms and tornadoes, but I use supercomputers to simulate supercell thunderstorms at pretty much the highest resolution possible with today's hardware. I have access to the Blue Water supercomputer at the University of Illinois, and it is able to crunch up to 10 quintillion calculations per second, and it allows us to simulate supercells at resolutions that capture things like tornadogenesis and a lot of the different smaller scale vortical features that occur in supercells that lead up to tornadoes forming and probably involve the tornado's life cycle itself.
What I think the public needs to understand, if I understand correctly, is that you are programming the laws of physics into a computer and then just hitting go, and then the computer grows the thunderstorm.
All of those models are obeying the laws of physics as we understand them as human beings. Once they go, there's no human interaction with the model until it makes its forecast. The initial conditions for the model that we took were from a pretty faithful sampling of the air that would have been along the right flank for a specific storm on May 24th, 2011. And the result was we got a storm that has some very similar traits to the actual storm that occurred on May 24th, 2011. So we've got these big storms that have actually occurred, and we're going to try to sort of bring them to life within the computer so that we can better understand what's going on.
In the past, I would have thought that a tornado is composed mostly of warm inflow.
Yep.
And your models are suggesting that the cold pool is what is feeding the tornado.
Yes, absolutely. So let me ask you first, Hank, why did you think that in the first place? Just, what was your thinking?
Because warm air is more buoyant, so you just assume that warm air is going to be more easily lifted.
Right.
Also, when you're in the path of a tornado, more often than not, you find yourself in the warm inflow that is streaming in, and around.
Right.
And then also, when a storm becomes outflow dominant, there's no more tornado.
Right, exactly. First of all, I assumed the same darn thing before this simulation. It is counterintuitive to think that the cooler air is being lifted at over, 150 miles an hour, half a kilometer above the ground, which our simulations show, which is mind-blowing. And yes, our simulations of this particular storm, May 24th, 2011, in all cases, when you trace the air with trajectories and you drop these little parcels, you put them in front of the storm, they'll enter the updraft, but they won't go into the tornado. The parcels that you drop in the cold pool, especially certain regions of it, they take a beeline right for the tornado and get pulled up into the tornado circulation. Now, the fact that we're not seeing any air coming from the warm side to feed the tornado is an interesting result, and if it turns out to be true, I think it's an important result.
Near a supercell, there are many fascinating things to observe that often overshadow the inflow band. Your animations are suggesting there's a lot more to the inflow tail than just a thin cloud streaming into the mesocyclone.
Yes. First of all, the fact that it produces a tail cloud is good because tail clouds are common in supercells along the forward flank. They're not always there, but that interface is where a bunch of interesting things can happen. Let me talk about a couple of the things we've found in our simulation that I don't think has been seen in Mother Nature. we have found very interesting organization of vorticity in the cold pool of our simulated storm. And one of the features we've identified, or at least we've given it a name, is called a streamwise vorticity current. And this is sort of you could call a helically flowing tube of air. It's sort of tilted into the storm's updraft, where it becomes rotating cyclonically in the same direction as the air in the mesocyclone and any subsequent cyclonic tornado. So this feature is one that shows up in our simulations of the 24 May 2011 environment in all the simulations we've done. So one of the tools that we have used with our simulation is to place these air parcels sort of like chaff. You just release them every second or so in a certain region of the storm to see where that air will go. We'll follow the temperature, the humidity, the precipitation, and the pressure along the path of the parcel and the forces acting on it. And that's a very powerful method for trying to untangle the physics of what's going on. We see dozens and dozens of these little vortices along the forward flank that merge together, that sometimes just get assimilated into the cyclonic flow of the main tornado. If they're anticyclonic, they get twisted around the tornado's periphery and spun and stretched and tilted and all sorts of cool stuff. I know that some observational studies by Bluestein and Werman and some of those guys have shown that these vortices are out there. You can't see them with the naked eye. Sometimes they'll spin up some dust if you're lucky, but oftentimes there's all these vortices in the air that we cannot see with our eye. I'm thinking of creative ways to use videography like what you produce, Hank. Are there ways for us to get some more information from the video? If you're lucky enough to get something kicked up, some dust and all that, then you can start to look at the full three-dimensional wind field.
When you're underneath the storm, and let's say it starts off and it's got kind of a linear mode, and then you see that RFD start to march around, it's usually go time. And that's when you position, and then it won't be long often when the show really starts, which is why we generally think that this RFD is a mechanism in tornado genesis, but it might be all of these things working together that are also driving the RFD. It could be the SWC, like you say, that's driving the RFD in sync coming around, perhaps.
Perhaps. You raise a very good point. It's a matter of correlation versus causation. I mean, this is still the leading theory of tornado genesis, is that a downdraft impinges the ground, it spreads out like a downburst does, it forces convergence of existing vorticity, and once you get it stretched, boom, there's your tornado. Now, even if the RFD is an important source of tornado genesis, I don't see how downdrafts in the RFD can maintain a tornado, because the RFD is a very sporadic place. It's not like there's this constant stream of downward air going down nice and smooth. It's much more transient, and these downdrafts happen all over the place in their RFD. So perhaps there's something else going on that is causing the RFD behavior and causing the tornado. So the RFD is more of a symptom than a cause. And again, I don't know that I'm right.
When I look at your storm, there's one of your animations where we start, in the stratosphere, and we come down through the tropopause. You see the overshooting top. I've been observing these storms now for 20 years. I've seen 8 EF4s and 1 officially rated EF5. In my opinion, that's a supercell. All the features move and behave like the organelles, if you will, I've seen in the field. The rolling plumes of the updraft, the tumbling mammatus in the back shear region,
right?
The wall cloud appearance, and the tail cloud streaming in along the forward flank. The laminar, wind-sculpted region of the mesocyclone and the demarcation into the turbulent region. The tornado, its multiple vortices, the horizontal vortices riding up the tornado. The way the RFD wraps around the tornado and sometimes clears and wraps again. Even the anticyclonic tornadoes in the vicinity I've observed in numerous supercells.
It looks very good, as you say. All the different component parts that you see in the field, they show up in the simulation. But as far as calling it a day, in science, we have to write journal articles that get into the nitty-gritty physics, the quantitative analysis, and that is what we haven't done yet. But it's hard to argue against some of the animations that you see. When you see that, the things that you see in the field are getting right, like you say, the flanking line looks right, the laminar transition to turbulent, it's pretty compelling just to look at that and say, okay, well, that happened in a model simulation. And a model simulation contains all this physics and such. So it's likely that the simulation is not broken. That's the worst fear I would have as a scientist, is someday we discover a bug in the model and that invalidates our results. Well, I don't see that happening. There's no tricks. There's no Hollywood's graphics going on. It's all manifestations of the data that's on my hard drive.
How can actual storm footage help your cause?
By validating what the model shows. Because some of the most valuable information for me personally is looking at the storm structure and looking at how it changes. Because I can put your time lapse next to my animation and I can compare. So that is crucial. The best way to help people like us who are trying to do real storm research is to put it on a tripod. Please don't shake the camera around. That just drives me nuts. It's hard to see things. If you see little tiny vortices anywhere outside of the tornado, I'm very interested. Who knows? I'm not saying that it's definitely going to advance the field, but I'm saying that it already has helped me understand more about real storms by looking at footage like yours and other people, because then I can compare the model with what is being seen in the field in the one area where we overlap, and that's in the cloud.
Well, not that I need it, but I'm definitely more inspired to get out there and get some of these angles and send them your way.
Absolutely. And we've talked about this earlier, but maybe I can take an angle on my simulation that is what you took in your video, and we can do some comparisons.
To even collaborate with you
Yeah.
is a whole lot of fun and excitement for me. I mean, I'm by no means a scientist, but by contributing to the field is extremely rewarding.
Oh, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this, and I take this seriously too. I take this as seriously as any collaboration I'd have.
If you'd like to know more about Dr. Lee Orff's fascinating research, you can visit him at orf.media, orf.media, or check out his.
Yeah, so I think that video in particular is very fascinating. The work that Dr. Lee Orff is doing there. One of the exciting things that they're doing is that basically that this super high resolution model that they created there in that supercomputer is able to create a supercell like that's so perfectly, not perfectly, but it imitates nature to a very high degree of accuracy. And so that's one of the exciting things that they're doing in their research. And so the two big takeaways that I got from this short presentation is that one of the common assumptions is that it's the warm pool, that warm inflow of air, that drives the tornado. But this simulation seems to indicate that it's actually that streamwise vorticity current within the cold pool that's actually supplying that vorticity to keep that tornado. Additionally, the other key thing the key observation that they might have been making is that the rear flank downdraft, which in most of our understandings of tornado genesis is a key mechanism in creating that tornado, may not actually be a mechanism at all, but just be a symptom of the same things that cause tornadoes to form in the first place. And so that's one of the things that they need to do research on. And so what Hank's role in this research, field is to gather storm footage data so that they can compare it to the things in the model to try and validate that. And so that's what my last video is that I have planned for you here, is that follow-up where they actually compare that. That video is 20 minutes long, so if you guys have things to do or if you need to leave, I totally understand. But if you want to stick around and watch that with us, you totally can. But yeah, it's basically just a 19-minute follow-up where they do exactly that. They ran more model simulations, and then Hank gathered some more data so that they can compare the structures of the real supercells to those of the ones generated in the model. So again, if you guys want to leave, if you don't have 20 minutes, that's totally fine. Other than that, though, I'll share that screen and we can get watching that one as well.
Hey, I just want to input here. We probably will be under severe thunderstorm warning shortly. Based off of current radar trains and reports coming out of storms to southwest of here. Yeah, it's looking likely that we'll be placed. The western part of the county is already under a severe thunderstorm warning. So if you're not where you need to go as far as location, if you're not in your dorm or wherever, and you need to head that way.
That's actually exactly where I am. I'm in Tillman Hall.
Because hang on, before you start, I'll actually share my screen here. Two of them actually, and I'll show you where they're at before you start that video.
Sure.
I'll start off with the WIU radar. This is what it's currently looking like. Obviously, this DVZ values are lower, but I would expect these. This scale here is a fixed scale. It's hard-coded into the system, so I don't know how accurate this is to higher DVZ values. I don't know if these 60s and 65s are actually more like 70 or 75s. I wouldn't think so, but there's a possibility. And then if we go here, this is where we're at right now as far as warnings and things. Down here northwest of Liberty, they had 60-mile-an-hour reports. Looks like from an ASAW station out of Quincy. There's another report in there from, both from the ASAW station, Augusta 61, it looks like. And this is all moving relatively to the north, kind of expanding outward. So yeah, this is coming. We might catch the tail and we might not get the full brunt, but I would expect that it will storm here or very close nearby within the next 20 minutes probably for it to come in here. So yeah, just wanted to kind of throw that out there before we got in there. So that's all I had to say.
Yeah, thanks for that. If that's the case, that I might actually need to go because in 20 minutes the video is going to be over and then I'll just be in Tillman Hall. So what I might actually do for you guys, I might just go ahead and click play on this video, or if you guys would rather, I could just send you the link so you could watch that on your own. Which would you rather do?
For me, it might just be easier for you to just send us the link and then we can just watch it from there. I think that would probably be the best way to go about doing it.
I'll probably do that then. But yeah, I do recommend that video, that follow-up video. It's very interesting, the kinds of validations that they were able to do with the model. I'm not sure if their research paper is published. The last video they produced together was 2019. I haven't checked, but I'd definitely be interested in looking at that. But if there are no other questions, then I'll go ahead and end the meeting there, and I'll send you that link. In that case, I'll see you guys all next week. Don't forget to think about elections if you would like to run for an E-Board position. And yeah, thank you for attending.